What is going on, Slumpbusters? This is your boy Kyle, and we are back. NBA free agency has gotten underway, and most of the big names have signed. We're still waiting to see what happens to Lauri Markkanen. But in the meantime, let's catch up with two major NBA franchises. Major, as in the last 20 years, they've had relatively good success. Big markets, and that is the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat. So the two big names in free agency this year were Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, the former duo playing for the Toronto Raptors, who would lose in the conference finals to LeBron James, or lose in the semifinals to LeBron James, or lose in the first round to LeBron James. Future Hall of Famer Kyle Lowry, at 36 years old, was the prize to be had in free agency. As a all-star caliber player, maybe doesn't move the needle in terms of changing the entire landscape of the NBA, but it helps the Miami Heat improve from being a first-round exit team last year to a second-round exit team this year. You could argue the merits between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Miami Heat, especially because we don't know whether Ben Simmons is going to be on the 76ers next year. But one of the biggest victories for the Heat, other than adding Kyle Lowry, is the fact that the 76ers didn't add Kyle Lowry. And I thought Kyle Lowry being from Philadelphia, Kyle Lowry being a perfect fit to plug in at point guard and move Ben Simmons over to the 4, it would have been such a perfect move for the 76ers, although the cap space situation would have been difficult. And in the end, not only does he not go to Philadelphia, but he ends up on the Miami Heat. Bitter rivals, apparently, of the Philadelphia 76ers. There's a intense rivalry going on there between Miami and Philadelphia. And now we get to add some little bit of gasoline onto the fire for that 76ers and Miami rivalry. In Chicago, the Bulls ended up getting not just one, not just two, but three guards to surround Zach Levine with on the last year of his contract, and convinced Levine, the only current all-star still on the Chicago Bulls roster, to re-up his contract with Chicago headed into his unrestricted free agency. So Lonzo Ball comes over at $21 million a year. Alex Caruso then signs as a backup point guard for $9 million a year. And DeMar DeRozan ends up coming over for $27 million. So if you combine that with the investment they made in Nikola Vucevic at the trade deadline last year, when they traded Otto Porter Jr., Wendell Carter, and 2 draft picks to the Orlando Magic, the Chicago Bulls have now invested $80 million, pretty much all of their available cap space other than Zach Levine, and they've invested 3 first-round draft picks, the one that they sent to San Antonio in the sign and trade for DeRozan, along with the expiring contract of Thaddeus Young, and they've invested 2 in the Vucevic trade. So $80 million and 3 draft picks into this core of their team. And do I think that the Chicago Bulls are better than the Philadelphia 76ers? No. But the only way they were going to get better than the 76ers was by acquiring a player better than Joel Embiid. And so in a circumstance where they can't do that, the Bulls do the next best thing, which is bring in some fringe level players like the Atlanta Hawks did last year and improve enough to get you to like the 4 or the 5 seed, maybe make the second round of the playoffs, and just convince Zach Levine to re-up and stay together with this current core of the Chicago Bulls, because the alternative was to tear it all down and start over again. And Chicago made their commitment to DeRozan, former All-Star, Lonzo Ball, top 70 player in the NBA right now, not top 100 player. They've made an investment to Caruso, cult favorite, but you could argue maybe a top 100 player under the best of circumstances, and Vucevic, one of the top 50 players in the league. So that's 2 top 50 players and 4 top 100 players, similar to what the Atlanta Hawks invested last offseason in Bogdanovic and Gallinari and Clint Capella. These are the investments that the Bulls are making to just try and separate themselves from the pack with a lot of these mediocre teams in the Eastern Conference, like the Washington Wizards, like the Indiana Pacers, like the Charlotte Hornets. This is the Bulls' way of getting from that tier 3 or tier 4 of Eastern Conference contenders into the mix with Miami and Atlanta. Make sure to check out the Slumpbuster podcast YouTube and give us that follow. We are on the way to 2K. We should turn that into a hashtag sometime. But anyways, check that out, as well as the Caveman Coffee Co. Make sure to use that promo code SLUMP at checkout. The link is in the description to this episode. Until next time,